world champions of baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and the STT Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. Chet, the Eagles spent Good Friday get blown out by the now NFC-leading Chicago Bears. Yikes. The Flyers won 3 of 4 of a recent road trip. That was up until last night when they got spanked by the Pittsburgh Penguins. There was a lot going on there. But Flyers played pretty good hockey up to this point. The Sixers are creeping back to 500 mark. They're now 10-9 with some Joel Embiid drama, which I know makes you happy. Go figure that. The Kyle Schwarber rumors are swirling that has value to check that maybe even a blank check can't cover. Penn State got the win at Rutgers in a wild one to become bowl eligible, while Temple did not. We certainly have plenty to talk about this week in Philly sports.
Yeah, that we do, Bill. The Flyers and Sixers, both interesting to watch these days for various reasons. And, well, the Eagles are firmly in control of the NFC East still, we think. But after 2 bad losses and ongoing concerns about the offense, not everybody's happy. And there are some legitimate concerns, I think. We will talk about it.
We absolutely will. And we have a great guest returning tonight to talk about it for his annual visit to Talk Birds. Our friend, Arkansas Fred Barnett, will be with us tonight.
Yeah, we are in our 12th year doing this together, Bill, and we've been fortunate to have Fred join us pretty much every year, every single year at some point, usually in December, and he's always great to talk with. He still follows the Birds pretty closely, and he always provides us and our viewers with some great insight. Let's get it going.
Let's do it. Let's welcome Fred Barnett back to Philly Pressbox Radio. Fred, welcome back,
hey.
Fred.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Happy holidays. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Great seeing you, Fred. Hey, I saw you 9 days ago at a charity event run by our mutual friend, Mike Barnes. And you and I were sitting side by side for much of the first half of that Eagles game. We were talking early on about how bad the Cowboys were and how they were going to screw things up, which they did early on. But boy, I left at halftime of that game. You left shortly after, I think. Things have changed. The Cowboys all of a sudden are a hot team. They won that game. And the next one, the Eagles, meanwhile, have lost a couple of games and seem to be in a bit of turmoil. As you see it, Fred, what is the state of this Eagles team right now, both on the field and mentally?
You know, mentally it has to be daunting for you because I think they're losing games that they should win. When you look at that Cowboys game, you know, you're up 21-0. And when you look at the Chicago game, Chicago literally dominated that game almost, you know, every series, especially offensively for them. It was just very surprising to see the defensive line not really, you know, have gain some sort of traction to create some momentum to, you know, to make some plays. But mentally, it has to be hard because you know that you're better than you are. I think everybody knows that, you know, the Eagles are better than they are. But from a standpoint of just, you know, when you're looking at the X's and O's and especially when you're looking at the record and just kind of trying to position yourself in the playoffs, you know, they're still right there on top of the NFC East. But at the same time, too, you know, they got the Chargers and then they have Buffalo. You know, you think they should be able to take care of Washington and the Raiders, but you know, it's with the way that they're playing now, you're just kind of walking on eggshells. But you know, if I were to talk to this team, if I were to talk to Nick Sirianni, I'd say, look, just go out and be yourself, be who you are, not worry about what your record is or Dallas being hot. Dallas is hot. Okay, all right. Go get to the playoffs. They're going to need help. They can win out, but they're still going to need help from the Eagles and from other NFC teams to even get to the playoffs. I think I read some quote where Dallas said that they play anybody anytime. And I'm like, okay, but you are where you are right now, of course. So it's hard to watch a good team, I think, struggle mentally and even physically because if I had to put it I'm one of the biggest supporters of the Eagles, but if I had to really pinpoint what was going on, I would look at the play call. I mean, at this point, and I'm not the type of guy who's going to point fingers and get on the radio and say this guy need to do this guy need to do that. I'm always trying to stay optimistic and positive, but that Dallas game, for me, in my opinion, showed me the character of this offensive coordinator, and I don't know if that character is there, and I hate to say it, and I love the Eagles, but I hate to say it, but I just don't think he has that mentality to make this a Super Bowl champion team.
Well, Fred, Kevin Petula has certainly taken a lot of heat. Some of your former teammates, I guess, Eagle alumni, been on the radio. They've been pointing fingers at A.J. Brown. They've been pointing fingers at Saquon Barkley. They've been pointing fingers at Jalen Hurts. A lot of finger pointing going on Philly Sports Radio. But what I wanted to ask you specifically was about Hurts. I'm a Hurts guy. I'm a Hurts fan, and I thought he played his worst football game that he ever played as an Eagle last week against the Bears.
I agree with you, and I think that you are going to have those games as an NFL quarterback. You got 17 games to play. You're going to have one or two, maybe even 3 games where you just kind of like not on target. You're not a perfect individual. You're a guy. I mean, he's a guy. You can't take the fact that this guy went to 2 Super Bowls and won one. And if he would have, if barring a turnover, in my opinion, in that first Super Bowl, they probably would have won that one, and he would have been the MVP twice in the Super Bowl. So you have to just kind of, let guys have their good days and accept the possibility of the bad days as well. And I just keep harping on the fact that and I hate to do this, I swear to you, because there have been so many times when I've done interviews and the person who's interviewing me trying to get me to point the finger at someone. But when I look at that Dallas game, when you think about A.J. Brown, when you think about Jalen Hurts, and when you think about Saquon Barkley, who quote unquote could be a problem, look at the first half of the Dallas game. And if I had to give an analogy, it was almost as if this was a boxer that was going 12 rounds, and he felt that he had enough points, in the 9th round to just kind of dodge his opponent, and he got knocked out. And I just felt like the play calling was not the way it was in the first half. As a matter of fact, I'm sitting there watching the game, and I saw where I think that there was a 2nd and 12, and you've been moving the ball up and down the field, and you run the ball, and it just blew my mind, and I'm like, I think this is a character, in my opinion, a character flaw. I think that when you see an individual, whether it's a player on the field or even whether it's a coach, the things that they do, you can kind of map out who they are as people. You have to be the type of person as a player and as a coach, I'm going to put 100 points on you until you stop me. Now, I'm not going to be disrespectful and throw the ball down the field with a minute left and we up by 30. But when I know that I am in control, I have to keep going. And I think that it seems that Tulo think that they were in control at halftime, and they weren't. And I think the play calling really reflect of him saying that, hey, we're just gonna, get through the second half and the game is over. But at the same time, too, you got Dak Prescott and two, in my opinion, all pro receivers that are hungry and want to play football.
Hey, Fred, my radio partner thinks I'm a doom and gloom fan sometimes. I'm really not.
You are.
I'm not.
You must be from Philly.
All right. Well, listen, I know you remember what happened with the Eagles in 2023, the 10-1 start that was followed by 6 losses in 7 games, including a brutal playoff loss to the Bucs. Now, my radio partner again, Bill, doesn't see this 2025 team going that route, but here is a guy that all of us know and respect who apparently is starting to get a bit concerned. This is courtesy 94 WIP Monday morning.
I mean, up until now, people have been referencing the 2023, the flashback to 2023. And I've always been, no, that's, that was then, this is now. It's 2 different seasons. This team has a much better defense. No, this isn't 2023. Well, I'm watching this game, and I'm saying, man, this looks, feels, and smells a hell of a lot like 2023. I mean, it just does. It has that same feeling.
There you go. Fred, what do you think? Are you at all worried that this is going to be a collapse like that?
I'm not worried. And of course, we'll of course know the outcome. But what I'm hoping is that they understand, the team understand that they are in control of what they are able to do. They got the Commanders twice, they got the Raiders, and they got the Chargers next Monday, and they also have the Bills. The Bills are beatable, the Chargers are beatable. The Commanders are not. They're going to play till the end. Those are 5 games, in my opinion, that I think this coming Monday that they should start to lay out, the plan for the rest of the season. And I think that's the mentality that you have to have when you're backed in a corner and when you know that you're better than you are. You have to at some point create a reason, to exhibit the essence of really who you are. And, and that takes every player to have that mindset. And when every player has that mindset that, we are not walking out of this stadium with a loss. And if you have that type of mentality, and the majority of those guys have that mentality with the talent that they have and the fact that they are the better team, in my opinion, the rest of the season, they are the better team with every team that they're going to play. So they need to just act like it and have pride. One thing that in the 90s that we did, whenever there was any kind of downfall, whether it was a series or whether we fell behind, you saw guys on the sideline getting animated, getting emotional, and really trying to push each other. It's hard sometimes to watch them not have success on the field, whether it's offense or defense, and the camera moves to the sideline and guys are just sitting there. And I'm like, shouldn't they be talking about something? Should they be talking about what went wrong this last series? And it's tough being an Eagles fan because you got a good team, but it's like, what is missing here? You know that there's a piece missing, and you just can't put your finger on it. Well, I think I can put my finger on it, but there's just so many directions you can go in terms of possibly labeling what really is going on. When I think about AJ Brown, and here's another point where I just kind of question the character of the offensive coordinator. Every time, 100% of the time, when AJ Brown complained That next game, he got 5 or 6 targets.
Yeah.
The first series. Why?
Yeah.
Do you have a plan, or are you allowing players to dictate your plan? And and trust me, I want to see AJ have 1,800 yards in 15 touchdowns and 120 catches. But if you want to complain, I don't allow your complaints to change my offensive scheme, or do I have an offensive scheme?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Fred,
we're
talking about 4 loss. I think they've won 2 games out of their 4 losses where AJ had like 100+ yards.
Oh, the last 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of the last 2.
He had a great game, and he's okay. I'd rather you not be okay and we walk away with a win.
Right. Well, hey, Fred, you kind of walked into right where I wanted to go. Having been a guy that's been on that practice field at the professional level and played the game, what do you do as a coach? How much is the coach involved when you come out and first play you run the ball, you gain 5 or 6 yards, and you got an offensive guard with a procedure penalty? You come out the next play, you gain 5 or 6 yards, and you have a wide receiver who has a procedure penalty. The next play, same series, you get offensive pass interference. You got a miscommunication between Hurts and Smith on a route that probably was a touchdown. From a coaching standpoint, how are you working on that at the professional level? A little different where I coached in high school. We could drum them to death, but what do you do at the professional level?
At the professional level, it's interesting because what you think should happen is this: when you have, high school and college guys who make mistakes like that, and there's a loss, there's almost like nothing really to gain or nothing really to lose. It gets to a point to where at the professional level, you inevitably, as a coach, of course, you want to be positive with your guys, but at the same time too, there's this expectation as a coach that you as a player can kind of fix your own self. You as a player can kind of hold yourself accountable. One thing I think, if I was Nick Sirianni or a position coach, I would look at how they reacted behind these plays. And if it was just, oh, well, we have a problem, because here's the deal. I know players are not perfect. Coaches are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But at the same time, too, you have a grade scale. You have a level of ability to where I know if I measure you as my guy against my opponent's guy, I know you're the best. So, I think, as I mentioned, the games that they're going in for the rest of the season, they are the best team. And at some point, when you make mistakes, there are things that you have to do within yourself to hold yourself accountable to make sure that you don't do it again. But from a coaching standpoint, I would look at guys' reaction after mistakes to see how they handle those mistakes. Now, you don't have to punch yourself upside the head, but at the same time, too, I need some emotion behind it, to let me know that you're letting yourself know you can't do it again. You can't let this team down, and you can't let the city down because, I think we talked about a little earlier. I think it's wide open. I think the playoffs are wide open.
Yeah.
You got a lot of teams that we thought that would just kind of run away from each other or run away from the pack. They're not. Tampa's right there. San Francisco's back in there. I mean, look at Detroit. Everybody thought Detroit, this is their year. They may not even make the playoffs. Yep. Look at Kansas City. Kansas City may not make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So now you're in a situation where now you physically know that you can go out and dominate. So now you have to prepare yourself mentally to go out and not make the mistakes. And it's almost like, when I play golf, I have to remind myself that this is the shot every time, because if I don't, I'm 7 strokes in. So every play is the play that makes you successful on offense. Every play on defense, this is the play right here that's going to win the game. And that's the mentality that you have to have.
Who would have thought 13 weeks into the season, the Bears and the Patriots would be the top seeds in their respective conferences? It is a crazy year indeed. Hey, Fred, Saquon Barkley had 482 touches last season, by far a career high. Is that the primary reason his effectiveness, his production is noticeably down this year, or is it the injuries to the O-line, or what?
Well, it has to be with the injuries to the O-line. You got the same O-line coach. You got a lot of guys that's out. You got a lot of guys that's been injured. Lane Johnson, I think now is coming back, not this weekend, not this coming next game, but the next. Not the Monday game, but the next game. That happens. That happens. And, it still has to put you in that mindset to make sure you sustain, but still strive to scale, and because, as I mentioned earlier, they have some dynamic players, on offense. And sometimes all it takes is just one run to just kind of get things going. I would say that it's been a little turmoil in terms of the injuries. If I had to put my finger on it, the injuries and just, guys even going out not 100%. And that can hurt you. And at the same time, too, we're talking about every team that they're up against. You have to understand this, too, that anytime you play the Philadelphia Eagles, that team is saying in their mind, we're playing the Super Bowl champs. So you're going to get the best from everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, Fred, we spent a lot of time talking about the offense, but I think we have to at least touch on the defense just a second. The Dallas game, the defensive backfield got shredded by 2 really good receivers and a pretty good quarterback. Against the Bears, the defensive line got shredded. Gap control was no such thing. They were getting blown out. Is there reason to be concerned about the defense as much as the offense after these 2 games?
I think you're always concerned. But, if I look at it realistically, you score one more touchdown in Dallas, you win the game.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and say Dallas sucks to the point that they're just going to give up, and that's something that they didn't do. But they do suck. Not to that point, but they do suck. Their backs are against the wall. And when I look at the defense against the Dallas game, against Dallas, I expected them to score some points. I expected them to have a few plays here and there, and they put up enough points just to win the game. And as I mentioned, you score another touchdown, one more touchdown, the Eagles win that game. And when I look at the Chicago game, I just saw I call it almost like a hiccup game, because it's like, you just felt like the defensive line had a lot more talent, and it becomes a situation where, is the defense line not that talented? We know they're talented, but at the same time too, I have to lean toward the offensive scheme, especially the running game that Chicago had. And I have to say, hey, these guys were prepared for what they were going to face and for who they were going to face, and they were successful at it.
Absolutely.
Well, Fred, we have used up all of our allotted time already. It just flew by, as it always does. I just want to tell you, today here in New Jersey, where I am, it was 38, 39 degrees and a chilly rain. For people who can't read your hoodie, where are you and what was the weather like today?
I'm in Bermuda. It was 75 degrees.
Yeah.
It was 75 degrees today. As a matter of fact, in the sun, it was like hot. So once the sun goes down, I just put on my hoodie because it's a little chilly outside. It's about 68 out there.
38 right now, right here. 38 degrees.
I'll be there soon, though. I'll be there soon.
Well, Fred, we appreciate, as always, you taking the time to join us. We love having you with us, and let's do it again.
Let's do it again for sure. Happy holidays, guys.
Thanks. You too, Fred.
All right. Yeah. Go Birds, Fred.
Go Birds. Go Birds. Go.
All right. Yeah. That's always great having Fred.
Always a good time.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, Chet, Philly Pressbox Radio is part of the STT Sports Network, as in Set the Trends. It's a network set up by our pal Phil Stiefel, host of the terrific Trending in the AM show that you can find every weekday morning on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel. Check out Phil. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Phil's show is on there, and so is ours. Yep. You can find Philly Pressbox Radio there in addition to on our own YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. Again, it's the STT Sports Network, setting the trends for what sports talk should be.
Mm-hmm.
Chet, holidays are here. What's going on at the Irish Rover Station House?
Well. Always a pleasure to visit the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. Terrific food and always 24 beers on tap. Don't forget they have trivia every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Oh, this week it is Elf trivia, by the way. I love that movie, one of my favorites. Killer Burger Thursdays, dinner specials Thursday through Sunday, live music most weekends. This Saturday, courtesy Aaron Quarterman. And yes, coming up on the 18th, it is that time of year again, the annual Ugly Sweater Party at the Rover. You know I will be there. I just need to figure out which of my many ugly sweaters I'm going to wear. That was my choice last year with the ladies from the Rover. Always a good time. The Irish Rover Station House is located on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne. Find them on the web at irishroverstationhouse.com.
Prop gets it up through on the near side to Poulin. Broken up and then taken by Prop. Through into the zone. He's on a breakaway. Look out. Short-handed. Score! 3 short-handed goals and a hat trick for Brian Prop. Holy cow.
Hi, I'm Brian Prop, former Flyer. I'm on with Chet and Bill on Philly Pressbox Radio. Guffaw.
Proper.
Always good to hear from Proper.
Yes, it is.
Chet. Jim Bowden of The Atlantic put together a list of the top 50 free agents and their projected signing value in Major League Baseball. Kyle Schwarber's projection, 5 years, $160 million. He's going to turn 33 in March when spring training starts. And I'm going to ask you what you think about this. So let me give you a little reminder. He's a .231 career hitter with 1,050 hits, 340 of them are home runs, 784 RBIs, not mind-boggling. I don't know how the Phillies can replace that power, but I can't agree to that contract, Chet. I don't know where they get somebody to do it, but he's going to become a 38-year-old making whatever that is, 30-some thousand, $1 million a year, and not be productive.
And you already have Turner and Harper under contract for many, many more years, deep into their 30s, I think to 40 in the case of Bryce Harper. I mean, all Phillies fans would love, I think, seeing Kyle Schwarber back in a Phillies uniform next year. I know it's not our money, but, you know, at some price point, it just doesn't make sense, baseball sense, when there are so many other needs to fill on this Phillies team. Here's a partial list of that list that you mentioned, Kyle Tucker and Kyle Schwarber right at the very top in terms of average annual salary. Yeah, $32 million a year for Kyle Schwarber, who is going to be, you know, well into his mid-30s and then late 30s by the end of those 5 years if it were to play out that way. So I don't know. I just don't know if he is worth spending that kind of money. Not my decision to make, but it's a tough one.
Well, and you have Ranger Suarez on that list also. It's 6 years, $164 million. He's even more money than Schwarber in the big ticket, right? With Ranger getting one more year, but that's 6 years for a left-handed pitcher. That's ridiculous money too. The money is all ridiculous. So I try to set that aside. It's the 5 years and the fact he's already 33 that bothers me more than the money. As you said, it's not our money, but we want to have productive players.
Yeah, and the Phillies have, so many other free agents too. JT Realmuto, we would love to have him back, but not for more than 2 or 3 years, given his age and the fact that he's playing a very demanding position, catcher. I saw a piece yesterday, by the way, where the Phils may let JT Realmuto walk if they can instead work out a trade for Twins catcher Ryan Jeffers. Now, Jeffers is just 28. He, this past season, hit .266 with 9 home runs and 47 RBI. He was more productive the prior year when he had 21 homers. Again, Jeffers, just 28. JT will turn 35 in March. So you think they should move on from him if they can make this deal for a couple of minor league pitchers?
Well, I guess it depends on what you give up. I mean, I saw one proposal that they get Rushman from the Orioles, but give up Andrew Painter to get him. Because, remember, they gave up a real good prospect when they got JT. And his name was Sanchez, but I don't remember what his first name was. And that worked out fine. This one might not work out so fine. And after all this, would you possibly give up Andrew Painter to get a starting catcher?
Boy, I believe
Rushman. I believe Rushman is 27. I believe.
I hope we see an effective, legitimate pitcher in Andrew Painter, come March and April, because we've been waiting for him, it seems, forever. I mean, he's still only 21 or 22, but you want to see him get up there and see what he can do. So hopefully he'll be healthy and able to contribute. And by the way, more talk lately about Harrison Bader maybe coming back and returning to the Phillies. So we'll see. Yeah,
I mean, I think the Bohm and Stott and Bader and all that talk around the fringes, it's all going to depend on what happens with Schwarber. I think he's the key to this whole thing. And if you're going to get rid of Schwarber, then I kind of feel like you might be going into rebuild mode. And I know they don't want to do that.
Not the R word, Bill. Not the R word.
But it kind of goes back to, we talked about this in mid to late season of get it done before he got the free agency. Maybe he didn't want to, but it sounded like he did want to, and they wanted to, and they didn't get it done. And now they're in trouble, I think.
And by the way, Bill, Irish Rover Ugly Sweater Night, December 18th. So tonight's beer, Fugly Sweater. Fugly Sweater.
That's pretty much. Never mind. I won't say that about you.
Okay.
I thought it was every Friday night.
In the winter, yeah, Christmas time, sure.
There you go. Hey, Chet, Flyers came off a solid road trip, winning 3 of 4 against some quality teams in Florida and the Devils. Last night, they got spanked by Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins. That hurts me to even say it. They're in the hunt. They lost Tyson Forrester, we found out today, for 2 to 3 months. That's a big loss. He was playing well, too.
The Forster injury certainly hurt, and seeing Sidney Crosby score a couple of goals, man, he should retire. He's getting too old. He can't be playing these games anymore. It was not a great game for the Orange and Black Monday night for sure. Vladar didn't have his best game in goal. I blame me, Bill, because I actually watched most of the game.
I blamed you last night, too, when you told me you were watching.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Forster was the Flyers' leading goal scorer with 10, and now leaving him out of the lineup for the next 2 or 3 months. That is certainly going to hurt. It was kind of a weird injury, too. He hurt it shooting a one-timer, so he was untouched. And, they, of course, always just call it an upper body injury, but it's clearly something with his shoulder or upper arm area, I guess.
Yeah, I would think by watching it, he separated his shoulder. That's a long time to be out for a shoulder separation. But it's also he's a hockey player. That's got to have your shoulders, right?
But, the Flyers still very much in the mix right now. If the season were to end, they would be one of the wild card teams in the Eastern Conference. And, by the way, that Penguins game was the first of 6 straight home games for the Fly Guys. And then I think 9 of the next 10 are on the road, their annual December road trip.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: last night was a one-off. I think there have been very few games that they've gotten blown out and really didn't compete. Last night was one of them. Need to bounce back and catch another win.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Chet. It's December. Eagles are tailgating. We got some home games coming up. What could be better than tailgate with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia? Bob Cavanaugh and the gang at Cavs Philly Tailgates.
Yeah, these guys, Cavs Philly Tailgates, has been cooking up a terrific catering business for some 35 years. You know them mostly for their tailgate parties. Cavs is a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgates, Jack Daniels Great American Tailgate Party Contest, and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cavs also does corporate events, parties, you name it. Of course, Cav hosts tailgates before all Eagles games outside the link. So, yeah, there will be another one coming up in December. That will be before the December 14th Sunday game against the Las Vegas Raiders. Get details on all events at Cavs website, phillytailgates.com. And if you have any questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go.
Yes, it is. Chet, Penn State and Temple went into the weekend fighting for their bowl life. Penn State got the win, while Temple didn't. Tough season as it turned out. Temple looked like they were in pretty good shape. They end up 5-7, and they're on the outs. Penn State, we get another 20 practices, but likely with a coaching staff that isn't going to be here next year. College football, Chet, is a mess. Penn State's in the middle of it. Tomorrow is early signing day.
Aha.
And Penn State does not have a head coach.
Makes it tough.
And a lot of the recruits they had are going to Blacksburg, Virginia.
With James Franklin, Well, I was out pretty much all day and night on Saturday, so I didn't get to see the PSU game, but I was making frequent checks of the score. Certainly a wild one, but they survived up at Rutgers. So a final regular season record of 6-6 for the Knits. Certainly not what we expected back in August or early September. I guess a low-level bowl game will be coming up. The coaching situation, as you mentioned it, very unsettled. Did you see who the new favorite is for now anyway? It looks like Kalani Sitake, the head coach of BYU, has suddenly jumped to the top of the pack. That's according to betonline.ag as of Monday. They have Sitake as the betting favorite at 7-4, followed by James Madison's Bob Chesney at 3-1, and ex-Giants head coach Brian Dable 3.5-1 also in the mix. Wow.
Yeah, well, Chesney's out of the mix because he took the UCLA job.
Oh, he did.
He did. The BYU guy, Sitake, apparently a big donor out there in Utah, has decided that Sitake is not going to leave, and he is going to do everything he can to fund him staying. So we'll see how that goes. Sitake's going to end up staying right where he is with a big giant raise, as most of these coaches got.
Oh boy.
So, I think I'll throw this out there. There's two guys that I have in, well, maybe three. Brian Hartline, the wide receiver coach and assistant offensive coordinator or assistant head coach at Ohio State, Ohio, could be number one. Of course, Terry Smith's involved. Al Golden could still be in the mix. He's the defensive coordinator for Cincinnati Bengals, who are not eliminated yet. So there's that. And Bobby Ingram supposedly was interviewed. Bobby's been an NFL assistant since he quit playing. He's got a long resume as well. And maybe Terry Smith ends up being the guy. So we'll see. That's
Chip Kelly's available, Bill. Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly is available. Yes, he is. And,
no.
Yeah, that would be really bad. But
they're actually talking with Kentucky about the possible destination for Chip Kelly, University of Kentucky.
Kentucky filled that job today.
Wow, so you're on top of things, man.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but they filled that job today. Florida's filled. LSU's filled. There's not many left, and that's a lot of the problem. Is a lot of the guys that might have had their names, at least in the rumors, have either taken jobs or gotten pretty big extensions and pretty big pay raises where they were. So it's Penn State and Terry Smith has done a nice job there, but
yeah,
I'm not sure when you fired your guy 2 months ago and you're sitting here now the night before signing day and you don't have a head coach named, that's a little bit of a trouble.
Much of the weekend college football scene was discussing the whole Lane Kiffin situation. What's your thoughts about him taking the LSU job?
Well, I don't like how it all went down, but it's not his fault. I think he got $91 million. It's not his fault. The fault is that the calendar, the way the NCAA has the calendar, all this stuff should be happening after the season.
Yeah.
He's left a team that is going to the playoffs with a chance to actually win some games. And he walked out on them. It makes him look terrible. He's not the best guy to begin with, but it makes him look terrible. But for $91 million, it's not his fault either. So I blame the NCAA more than I blame guys for taking these money and jumping ship to these places. It's who's not taking $91 million.
Our mutual friend who's an Ohio State fan is excited about Ohio State and Indiana game of the year.
Well, Ohio State and Indiana is going to be the big game up north, while Alabama, Georgia are going to play down south. Yeah. And, I think everybody would hope that as everything plays out, the winner of those two games will be the ones playing in the final game. But it's going to be a long, long road to hoe for all those teams.
Yes, sir.
So, all right. I always love to talk college football.
I know you do, man. You're on top of these coaching moves.
Yeah, well, I keep an eye on that, those sort of things. So, hey, what I don't do a very good job is picking winners of our pro football games, but it's time for our weekly picks. I don't even know how I did this past week, but how did Boop, Bobatron Jr., you and I do in week 13?
We all had the exact same 5 picks. We all did horribly. In fact, we were all 0-3, 0-3 going into Sunday night. But then we did get a little bit of luck when Denver hung on to beat Washington in overtime by a point. Washington failing to convert a 2-point conversion to try to win it. And then Monday night, of course, the awful Giants got crushed by the best record of the NFL Patriots, go figure. So we did go 2-3 for the weekend. The standings didn't change. Therefore, I'm still in first place somehow, up by 3 games on Boop and up by 5 on you.
Well, it might be time to make a move, I guess. It's get late early, as they say. This might be my time.
Uh-oh.
All right, so let's clarify how we make our picks this year for anybody that's new watching.
While you do that, Bill, I got to go run and get Boop's picks on my phone, which is in the other room.
Okay.
Be right back.
Well, what we do is we pick the winners of 5 games every week with no point spreads, always the NFC East games, always the Sunday night football game, and then we throw in additional games as needed to get to 5 games. This week, who we're going to put up here, the Giants have a bye, so they're out. Our add-on games are going to be the Steelers at the Ravens. Surprisingly, the Ravens -5.5. We've got the Bears at the Packers. The Packers are -6.5. Then we'll have Dallas at Detroit. Detroit is -3. That's on Thursday Night Football. The Commanders at the Vikings. The Commanders are -1.5. And then we have the Eagles and the Chargers on Monday Night Football with the Eagles -3. So those will be our 5 games. So, Chet, are you ready to talk Steelers-Ravens?
I have retrieved Boop's picks. So let's see. Boop says Steelers-Ravens. On the morning of October 13th, these teams were 4-1 and 1-5, respectively. They are now both 6-6. Easy math. The pick, the Ravens. Yeah, you got to go with the Ravens in that one.
You too? Yeah. I'm going Ravens as well.
Yep.
Can't make up any ground that way. Bears at Packers. Packers -6.5. I'm really surprised at this point spread.
Whew. Yeah, I mean, Chicago has looked pretty good, obviously, as Eagles fans know. Let's see. Boop says the NFC North is shaping up to be quite the dogfight. These two meet twice in the next 3 weeks. Boop this week is picking the Green Bay Packers. So am I, going with the home team.
I'm going with the Bears.
I thought about it, but
not because I'm in love with the Bears. I'm just not in love with the Packers.
Yeah.
I think the Bears definitely have some weaknesses, even though they're running the football very well. But I'm going to go Bears in this one. Dallas at Detroit, Thursday night football. Detroit is -3. That surprises me a little bit.
No, not me. I think that makes sense. Dallas is playing really well. Detroit has been kind of ho-hum.
That's why it surprises me that Detroit is a favorite in this game.
Oh, you thought it was going to be an even tighter.
Yeah.
I got you. All right, let's see. Boop says Dallas is going for its 3rd win in 11 days. By the way, the Eagles have 0 wins over that span. Boop's pick is the Cowboys. He is taking the road team, the Dallas Cowboys. I thought long and hard about this one, and I didn't really know how to go. I said, I'm just going to take the home team and hope the Cowboys lose because I don't want to see the Cowboys win. So I'm going Detroit.
Yeah, I'm going Dallas. I just think they're playing too well. They're still the hot team until they're not. And Detroit is not playing well. And I'm going to go with Dallas on this.
All right.
Commanders at the Vikings. The Commanders -1.5. The Vikings are in shambles, Chet.
Yeah, they really are. Boop says Minnesota hasn't won a home game since September 21st. Not getting one here either. Boop's pick is the Commanders. Yeah, I got to take Washington. Even with Marcus Mariota quarterbacking, he looked pretty good the other night.
Yeah, well, again, I'm not sure the Commanders are good enough to win, but the Vikings are certainly bad enough to lose. All right, Eagles at Chargers. The Eagles are managing to be 3-point favorites on the road on Monday Night Football in Los Angeles.
Yeah, now the big thing here is Justin Herbert has a fractured left hand. He is expecting that he'll be able to play. It's his non-throwing hand, but he'll probably
He had surgery.
He had the surgery already. Yeah.
He had the surgery already. Yep.
Yeah, and he thinks he'll be able to play. He went to the shotgun a lot in the previous game after getting hurt. We'll see if that's the case again. Man, if he weren't hurt, I was definitely going to take the Chargers, but now, well, Boop says maybe a little West Coast sun and surfing is exactly what this Birds team needs. I don't know if they're going to get any surfing in, but he is taking the Eagles. Man, like I said, I was going to take the Chargers here, but that injury, the Eagles defensive guys are going to be going for that hand quite often. So, yeah, I'm taking the Eagles. So's Boop. How about you?
I'm taking the Eagles. At some point, they got to break out of this thing, and I'm not sure which game it's going to be, sooner rather than later. But I'm going to go Birds, and we'll see how it plays out.
Pretty sure you have not bet against the Birds all season.
Or last season.
Oh, my gosh. Homer.
They're good. They're a good team. All right. Next up is our margin victory pool. How are the standings after 13 weeks?
Well, Bill, the good news for both you and me is we picked up a little ground over the past week. We all picked a winning team. Boop went with the Dolphins, but they won by just 4. Meanwhile, I took those LA Chargers. They won by 17. You took Seattle. They won by 26. So you and I, as I said, did make up a little ground on Boop. He is still in first place, though, by 33 points over me and by 46 over you, if my math is correct. So there's still time. We got 5 weeks to make up ground. You did that last week. You finished strongly and won it, coming back a lot of big numbers over the last 3 weeks. So it gets tough because
I'm going to tell you, I don't know. I've only got my pick done.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know the other picks, but I'm going to bet we have the same picks.
Well, I can tell you right now, Boop and I have the same pick. Boop's pick is the Tampa Bay Bucks over New Orleans. My pick is Tampa Bay over New Orleans.
And mine is Tampa Bay over New Orleans.
Yeah, that's.
I just looked at that chart. I looked at mine earlier when I made my pick, and then I just looked at it when you flashed up there, and I said, nobody has picked Tampa Bay yet.
Yeah, and okay, well, we're all going to have Tampa this week, and the standings will not change.
Well, that stinks. Can't make up any ground that way. All right. Hey, we had a great guest tonight in
No.
Fred Barnett.
Before you do that,
What?
I'm going to mix things up a little bit right here.
Oh, no.
It's not a random Chet, but I want to mention a couple of things before we do continue.
Ugly sweaters.
We heard from this guy briefly earlier in the show. I'm talking about the great Ray Didinger, and he, along with Glenn Macnow and Joe Conklin, is in fact the reason we moved our show to Tuesday this week, because tomorrow night, will be in Collingswood, because they're doing another one of those greatest moments of Philly sports shows. This one at the Scottish Rite Theater in Collingswood. Still a few tickets available, by the way. So I saw this over a year ago, 14 months ago, and I can tell you it is great. And of course, they will have updated it a bit because the Eagles did something pretty special last January and February, winning Super Bowl 59. So that will be thrown into the mix. A limited number of tickets do remain, as I said. So get out there and go see this. It is really, really good. Secondly, now, another friend to the show, Phillies Nation founder Brian Michael, will be doing a book signing this weekend. He has co-authored a new book about the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets called Frankfurt Yellow Jackets, Philadelphia's first football team. And he's got a book signing on tap this weekend at the Historical Society of Frankfurt, Sunday, 1 to 3 p.m. And look who's going to be with him, none other than Ray Didinger, who has his new updated Eagles Encyclopedia available for sale. Now you can ask me about next week, Bill.
Well, and to follow up on that, I believe Ray Diddy is also scheduled to be at Carl's Cards here in the next week or two as well.
I know he's got a few book signings coming up. He's got something else on December 18th as well. So he's a busy guy. He's selling his book, and we're going to have him on the show next week to talk about it, because I'm going to tell you right now who's going to be on the show next week.
Okay. Tell me who's going to be on the show next week, and we'll be back on Wednesday
at 7 p.m. And we are going to be joined, Bill, by those two guys that I just mentioned. We will have the great one, Ray Diddy, back on the show to talk all things Eagles. And yes, we will also have Phillies Nation founder Brian Michael joining us. So those guys will be together this Sunday for their book signing, and then each of them will be on with us next week, Wednesday, starting at 7 p.m. They'll be on separately with us, but both on the show, both plugging their books and talking Eagles, Phillies, and whatever else we get to.
That will be a lot of fun. Hey, I did want to throw out there, I think this the show you're going to tomorrow, that was kind of an add-on to the schedule, I think, right? Originally, I thought the last one was supposed to be in Westchester, and I really wanted to go to that. It just didn't work out this time for me to be up there. That was in October. So, but it's gotten rave reviews from the people that have seen it. So I'm with you. If you have time for a last minute night out, jump in there and get a couple of those extra or remaining tickets and go see the greatest moments of Philly sports in Collingswood.
Yeah, it's a great theater, too, the Scottish Rite. I've seen a couple of concerts there, including Get the Let Out, and really, really terrific venue. The sightlines are great, so I'm looking forward to seeing it there. That'll be a good time for sure. I think Westchester originally was going to be the last, and now they added this one a few months back for tomorrow, December 3rd, and there's talk of, doing some more next year, and I'm sure Ray will also be doing Tommy and Me. He told me via email there's also talk about Spinner coming back again next year because that went over quite well. So Ray in retirement, he's failing that job, but he's busy. He's busy.
We ask him every time he comes on now what Mrs. Didinger has to say about all this, and he just keeps on trucking along.
Yeah.
Hey, Chet, I can't let you go without talking about your Philadelphia 76ers. They're falling back to 500. They're 10-9. Joel Embiid tried to play. Now he's not. He left the bench during the game. Now he's hurt. Again, he's sitting out. What's going on with this drama now?
Well, who knows? He missed over 2 weeks, came back. He played 30 minutes on Sunday night in the double overtime loss that they had. He looked okay, scored 18 points in those 30 minutes. I mean, He's certainly, like I said before, not moving the way he used to. He had 4 rebounds in 30 minutes. And for a guy who's 7'2", I mean, you should just get at least a half dozen just because you're 7'2". So his mobility is not what it used to be. I don't know if he's just preserving himself or if the knees are in, so much pain, but he plays one game and it wasn't a back-to-back, and yet he's off or out again tonight. So I just feel that we are seeing the end of the Joel Embiid era, and it might not be prudent to even try to bring him back next year, barring some kind of a miracle health update.
Well, I wasn't watching. What happened with him leaving the bench and then coming?
I didn't even know that until you said that. I don't know, because he did come back for the overtime, so I don't know if he was getting treatment, but he came back and played in some of the overtime.
Yeah, I read that I want to say there was 5 minutes to go in the third, and he left the bench. Maybe he was hurt. I don't know. That's why I wanted to find out what you knew.
I did not even notice that, but I know he did play, several minutes in the overtime. Didn't look great in the overtime, so I don't know if he was just worn down or if he was in pain or what. Meanwhile, you got Tyrese Maxey playing 48, 50 minutes.
52 minutes in that double overtime.
Yeah, because that would have been 58 minutes total. So he played all but 6 minutes of that game, scored 44 points. Paul George looked okay a bit at times. So it was, in fact, the first time all season that we had the big three. The big three were out there together for a little bit. Remember the big three? You may never see them again, but
that's the big one in there right now.
Yeah,
he wears number 0.
Yeah. Kelly Oubre still out. VJ Edgecombe did return the other night. I think he's going to be okay tonight on a minutes restriction, but man, he has not looked the same since those first couple of weeks. I don't know if he hit a rookie wall, already just a month into the season, but
we anointed him the second coming after his first game, and
he had
nowhere to go but down after that.
Yeah. So as you said, they're 10-9 right now. They are going to be a borderline playoff team if everything stays the same. But if everybody, even discounting Joel Embiid, if everybody else were to stay healthy, I think they could be competitive, maybe even steal one round of the playoffs. But I don't think we're going to see anything better than that. So,
yeah, I think expecting them to be more than a 500 team is probably. Yeah, they are pretty much what they are. I think at this point they're going to be right. Couple over, couple under 500 the rest of the way.
I told you I hate to bet against the teams that I root for, but I actually did take the under this year for the Sixers, under 42.5, which means, like I said, they'll probably go 43 and 41 and screw me out of some money.
There you go. All right. Anything else before we wrap it up?
Well, I want to say happy birthday to this guy, Bill, Paul Holmgren, today, 70 years young. Just had a chance to talk to him, of course, at the Philly Sports Hall of Fame inductions a few weeks back. Great guy, longtime flyer in various roles. And I've met him several other times over the years. And at a time like this, back in 2014, several people said, we look like brothers. And I mentioned that to Paul one time. He said, I don't know if that's good or bad for either of us. But yeah, I could see a little resemblance there. So happy 70th, Paul. This Saturday, by the way, Penn and Villanova in the championship for the Big Five Classic. So yeah. I don't know how much excitement there is about that Big Five, but they're doing a triple header all day at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. All six really, Big Five teams taking part in that, and Penn and Villanova in the nightcap for the Big Five Classic Championship.
Yeah, because Villanova beat Temple last night, and Penn has beaten St. Joe and LaSalle. I don't know. So
yep. St. Joe's won this the last 2 years, but now it's going to be Penn or Villanova. So good luck to them both.
One of these teams in the Big Five needs to get back into the national hunt. I don't know if that's possible anymore, but
yeah, probably not yet. Maybe a few years.
It brings a whole lot more to college basketball when there's a Philly team that's in the mix somewhere.
Absolutely. Wrap it up, Bill.
All right. Let's wrap it up. Let's thank tonight's special guest, Fred Barnett, our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs Philly Tailgates, PPCC 118 Raz Room. For Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll join Philly Press Box Radio next Wednesday, December 10th at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook, on our Philly Press Box Radio YouTube channel, and on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel, and listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. Go Birds. Let's go fly.
Let's do the song. Come on.